Hey guys, it's Michelle with Sweet Pea Farm NY, a YouTube channel about sheep farming and fiber arting in upstate New York. Today I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to make this sweet little needle felted penguin. It makes a great ornament or a gift topper. It only takes a couple of shapes and a couple of colors, and it's a lot of fun for beginners. So check it out and I hope you guys enjoy. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel now so you can stay up to date with all the things going on in the farm.
So before we get started, I wanted to show you guys the very few supplies that we need. Sorry, I'm knocking the table with my knee, but okay, so first you're gonna need some nice core wool. This is just my own core wool for my sheep, but you certainly can get core wool from any supplier, preferably in a white color. And then you need some black top wool and some gray. This is a natural Romney gray that I use for a lot of projects like elephants and penguins and sloths, because I love the natural variation in the wool. And I can leave a link down below to the supplier in New Jersey that I get this fiber from. It's really inexpensive. You can buy it in bulk, like by the pound, or you can buy it by the ounce. And they have lots of other colors besides the gray and black. I just really love their gray because, as you can see, like the natural white in it, it just makes it like perfect for elephants and things like that. So, and then of course you're going to need a sponge for felting into. I have just a plain, like really grubby, covered in wool felting sponge. I'm using a 32 star needle for you know, the heavy workload, and then a 36 twisted for fine details. I also have my felting pen that I love, but if you don't have something like this, like you can get the needles for really inexpensive at craft supply stores. If you don't have one close to you, just order one offline. It takes a couple days to get in. And then I think the pens are like $10 or something like that, which is not a bad investment if you're gonna be using it all the time like I do. But if you don't want to pay the $10, then get a rubber band and rubber band 3 needles together. So similar, but this is a little bit easier on your hand maybe. I don't know. I love it, but it's not necessary. So I have that. You might see me use it when I'm going through the body, but if you don't have one, then just use what you got, or rubber band 3 together. Okay, so we have to get started making our little penguin, and basically it's going to be 2 shapes, the body and the head. So the body is kind of a cylindrical shape that we're going to make, and then the head is just a ball we're going to attach and then put on the color. So to make the body shape, you just want to take your core wool and roll it tightly. Like I said, you don't have to make them as big as I do. You can make them smaller. I might make mine a little bit smaller than the one I showed you before, just for demonstration purposes. You want to roll that tightly into like a little sausage shape, maybe cylindrical shape, and then stab the parts that you're trying to hold down first, because the needle will hold that wool into place, and then you can go around and shape. You want to keep one end flat for the bottom to stand on, and you're going to have to go over that again anyway when you add the color. And then you just kind of want to poke around. This does not have to be perfect because it's just the underneath part of the little penguin body. You're going to be putting gray over it. And it doesn't have to be super firm. If it was a standalone statue, I would say stab, stab, stab. And you totally can make this as firm as you want to. Deeper stabs to begin with will firm it up from the core, and then you can just make your stabs more shallow with time. But if this is going to be an ornament, it doesn't have to be super firm, because it's just going to sit on a tree and then be in storage half the year or most of the year. So there's our body part, and then we're going to make a little ball for the head to go on top, and you just roll the wool tightly. The tighter you roll the wool, the less stabbing you're going to have to do, because the whole point of the felting is to bring the wool together and get the air out. You just tear off any extra you don't need. And again, I'm using my my bigger 32 triangle for this, just to get, you know, get it felting faster. And then when you do the fine details and stuff, you can use the smaller gauge needles. But the bigger the number, the smaller the gauge, the finer the needle is, the less needle marks it's going to leave. these bigger ones are great for doing the basic work in the beginning. Okay, so stab, stab, stab until you have your shapes the way you want them. So this is going to go like that, but I'm going to use my demo just because I like them better and I didn't make them quite as quickly. This one actually needs some more stabbing anyway. So when you're going to attach pieces, like we're going to attach the head to the body, you want to leave this fluff there because that's just going to help you give some loose end fiber to attach the body to the head and vice versa. It just makes it a little bit easier. So you'll see when we do the wings, it's the same principle. You just want to leave one end a little bit frayed kind of, and that's just for the attaching of the felting. It'll make it go easier. So you can make a snowman in a really similar way. If you don't want to add the color, you can just make the body a little bit rounder and then a round head, and instead of doing the penguin colors and details we're going to do, you can just do snowman colors and details, scarves and hats and an orange for a carrot nose instead of a black for a beak kind of thing. But this is great because it only needs the black and gray. So now that we have the body and the head shapes done, we're going to take a little bit of our gray, kind of fluff it out a little bit so it's closer to the length of the body. You're going to want to make sure this overlaps, especially on the bottom eventually, because you want to cover up the bottom so that it's not white. And then just roll that on smoothly. You can kind of fan it out more each way. And then this is where you want to use either your finer needles, or you can use your pen tool or your rubber banded together finer needles, whatever. Usually when you order needles, they come in like a 3-pack or sometimes even more, just depending on how many needles you're getting. So that gives you a great opportunity to have multiples to band together to do this. I wish you guys could see my ridiculously ghetto fabulous camera rigging situation I have so that we can keep the camera pointed at the sponge right now. I don't have tons of technical equipment, so we're just making it work. But it's pretty funny to look at. It's like rubber banded onto a GoPro tripod thing. So you just bring over the gray and make it cover the bottom nice and evenly. Then keep stabbing at that, and then we're going to attach the head. To attach the head, you just stick it on there. And then we're going to go around the base of the head with all this fluff and stab that into it. You can use your pen tool. You want to go all the way around and make sure that the head is attached to the body nice and firmly. Again, you know, the felt items are awesome. Like, they have a really long life if you take care of them properly, leave them on a shelf, preferably behind like a glass cupboard door, or if they're just sitting on a Christmas tree and then going in storage. You know, you run into problems more if you have something that's handled a lot. Like if my little girls, like Eva has a cow that she loves that I made, and I have to kind of go over the cow, you know, every couple months to firm it up because they get fluffy from, you know, being carried around and left on and everything. So not a big deal. It just deteriorates the life of the project if it's being handled a lot. Okay, now we have our head attached, and we're going to take some of the black, and the first part we do is make a heart-shaped face. So you find the space that you want to be the face, and with mine that I'm quickly making, it's not really ideal, but you want to kind of find the smoothest, most even part in the front. To make your heart shape, you're going to find the center and make that the lowest point of the heart, and then just kind of stab back, and then make the little peaks of the heart down to the front here. And try to make it even on the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect, but nice and similar sides. So then we have the little heart-shaped face, and then you're just gonna fill in the back of the head. The face stays white. And then you probably need to get a little more black to add into the back of the head, and you can just kind of lightly roll it into the shape that you need to cover up the white. And fill that all in. You want to keep stabbing this more than I am. For quickness sake, I'm just kind of doing this rapidly and then just to show you, but you want to take some more time than I am, okay? So head is covered now. We just need a tiny bit of black for the beak and the eyes. To make the beak, you want to roll a tiny bit of black felt into a little flat shape and then just fold each side back to make a little triangular beak shape. And you're just gonna stab it into the shape you want it. Gently pull it off your sponge and flip it to make sure that you get both sides felted in. And then with these little tiny flat pieces, because you're just gonna keep ending up with more fuzzy from the stabbing on the other side, once you get the shape you want, just kind of rub it between your hands and do a little dry felting, and that'll help deteriorate some of the fuzzy. Okay, so then you're just going to attach the beak to the center right below the peak. You want to stab both under and on top of the little beak to put it in the place you want. And then we just need 2 little eyeballs. So you take 1 little wisp of black wool and separate it, and then roll it between your fingers. This will help you be able to feel if the eyes are the same shape or different shape. And my eyes are both too big, so I'm just gonna split mine in half again and do the same thing because I just want little dots for eyes. You guys can customize these with you can add a little hair bow or heart. You can do whatever you want to customize. So now we just stab the eyes in place, kind of right up at the top of the heart peaks next to the beak. Try to make them even on each side. All right, so now we have eyeballs and we just need little wings. You can also add little black flipper feet if you want to, or a little gray tail, but for the sake of the video, we're just gonna go simple. And just add some wings. So we take a little wisp of gray, separate it in half. We're gonna roll it into a rectangle, and then we're going to stab it, leave one end frayed, and then make a U shape with the other end for the bottom of the wing. We're gonna do that with the other half. Roll it down. Stab it again. Oops. Needle felting and shooting video are not always the smartest idea because it's hard to watch your video and not stab your fingers. And then these guys just get attached up at the neck of the little penguin. And if you messed up and made your wings a different length, you just can do that, you know, make it accommodate it when you stab it into place. And I usually stab most of the way down, but I leave a little bit of flap up. And just stab it again right up at the neckline. And there you have it. Sweet little Christmas ornament or a little computer friend. You can stick it on your laptop. They're just a fun, easy little project to have.